I think we're sinking. Oh, you are the biggest fish in the world. Yes, you are. You are the biggest little fish in the world. Yes, you are. I like you so much. You are my squishy. And squishy, I shall name you. Where's the phone? Let's take a picture.
Do you fish? No. You know, people who don't fish think that fishing is lazy or boring, but it is the complete opposite. There are 100 little decisions to be made, variables to be considered, and you're never quite sure what made the difference. Did I cast too high, too far to the left? Did I reel it in too slow or too fast? Is the lure too shiny or too dull? Do I stay here or should I go over there? And you know it's not luck, but you do not know by how much. Because I am never, disappointed out here because I don't expect anything, because anything is possible. I can be hopeful out here, even in failure. Because I know if I just go out there around that tree, it might be different. Something might be different. Something I do might make a difference.
Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good evening, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight on this Tuesday? We have 18 already in the queue. That is a freaking crazy number to be getting this last minute live with. Aren't you? I'm telling you, we're getting kind of a fancier, I don't know, popular possibly. How is everybody doing tonight? Really glad we have so many people here in the queue for this special last minute announcement, special extravaganza episode. And as you can see, I have my lovely co-host and co-angler here, Carly Bird. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So to begin with, guys, we're going to go back through some of the questions that we had from last night's live stream. Let me get that. Let me brighten that up a little bit. There we go. It's a little bit better there. We had so many questions last night. Huge shout out to everyone that was there, not in person, but during the live stream at Jake's Bait and Tackle. That was a fantastic showing, and really kudos to the Fishing the DMV and the Jake's Bait and Tackle for community. We had between 30 to 40 people actually watching.
We had a lot of interaction last night. People were blowing up the comment section and everything.
And people really liked it. And I didn't market that episode particularly well because it was kind of a last minute thing. We had a big episode that we got to pre-record with John Odenkirk, and I didn't even know if we could do a live stream. So I was glad, and huge shout out to Jared and Jenny at Jake's Bait and Tackle for, allowing me to do that. And Jared was the guy. He was like a drug because I kept saying like, this is going to be like 20 minutes in and out. He's like, 10 more minutes, just 10 more minutes. Let's keep going. 2 more minutes.
He loved it.
I got to answer this other question. And I was like, you know what, big dog, I'll hunt with this. That's fine. A couple of questions that we did have from the last episode and then as we get fancier, I need to figure out how to do this, but we can screenshot it. But then Brian Henry said, bubblegum flukes work on Tidal Potomac as well. Absolutely, they do. I love that coloration. Rippin' Lips with Marty Lawson. Jared, do you all have any deer hair jigs in the shop? Best thing ever for smallies. Maine native here, tell ya. Yes, Jake's Bait and Tackle actually does have that. Just wanted to make sure we got through a couple of these questions real quick. Does anyone remember the Gulp Chartreuse stick bait from back in the day? And that was Mick Myers, Sr. Yes, that is an old one, but a good one. I remember that very well. And then we got through page 1 of these super chats. I'm trying to, what's funny? Yeah. What's funny is we've gotten to the point where I remember we had like 3 comments. It was like last year. We thought that was a big deal. Yeah. And now I know guys that I listen to all the time that they have super chat catch-up shows because they get so many, they can't do it in one. Right. So they do a backup. And it's like funny that we're actually getting there.
Because when you're not doing a podcast, you're listening to a podcast.
Pretty much, which makes it a lot easier for me. So here's a couple more here. Brian, hey, actually, you read this one from Dave Van Doren.
I was going to say, it's from David Van Doren. It says, Brian Henry, thank you. Hey, do you guys do this every Monday? If not, is there any way you guys could give me a shout beforehand? I would like to hit some of your seminars as well, but I usually don't get notified in time. For some reason, it only pops up on my phone about 15 minutes before you guys start. And I live in Front Royal, so that doesn't give me enough time to get there. He means Monday Night Lives at Jake's Bait and Tackle specifically.
David Van Buren, here's the deal. YouTube is a fickly mistress. Sometimes you hit the notification bell and it doesn't have notifications go out. Sometimes it actually takes you off notification for channels you follow. Yeah. That's a specific thing for YouTube. My suggestion is to go onto the YouTube channel every now and then, Instagram or Facebook, peruse either my Facebook page, Fishing the DMV Facebook page, my YouTube channel. I will give announcements going forward, like a little Instagram posting, like this is when it's going to start the day of. But rest assured, pretty much every Monday there will be a live stream.
Not necessarily at Jake's Bait and Tackle, which is what he meant.
Yes, and I just want to and that was the next part. There will always be a live stream, but it might not always be at Jake's. I believe after talking to Jared right now, we're going to do at least one live stream, one Monday every month from Jake's. I think the 18th is going to be the next one that we're going to do. I would like to do more, but then, time, and also we have to drive like an hour and a half, not an hour and a half. Well, it depends. If 81 is a good mistress,
it's over an hour.
It's probably close to an hour, maybe a little bit shorter. If 81 is backed up, it could be a nightmare for me. Yeah. So that's why we got to like kind of figure that out. There was another one on here. Who won the gift card? That is a very good question. I meant not as in like I didn't know the answer to that. I just meant like
like you were
that-
like about to like make it up right now on this show.
well, I guess I said it
That's
like
a good question.
That's a good question. Let me figure that out right now. No, Chris, you actually were the one that won the gift card for everything that you did. Please reach out to me, Chris. Again, huge shout out. Congratulations on winning the $5 gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. That was really awesome. And then we got 2 more, and then we can kind of get into our show for today. This is insane that we're getting these kind of comments right now. Please let us know how the audio sounds right now.
Yeah, how do we sound? I talk a lot.
David Van Dorn, thank you.
Quiet
Awesome.
than Tom does. So
yeah, please let us know about the audio. And then Dave, by the way, could you please send me, David Van Dorn, please send me an email address. You just want a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle as well, $5. I mean, you're not going to retire on it, but it's a little something to say thank you for such a great question. If you do it at Jake's again, are we free to come out? We all be set up for that.
will you all be set up for that?
Yes, we want to try to do that. Jared really wants to do that. My dream is to do, again, one of my dreams, and we're going to get into that like with our future plans here. I really want to make a banging call-in radio show that we can do on our Monday Night Lives. So we can do call-in, text, all that. I also want to do a show where we can have a live audience as well and give the best of both worlds. I think there are some conversations where that can't be, like when you have an Odenkirk one or something like that. I don't know about doing the live audience thing. I would think a call-in show with him would be great, but it's like his time is so precious. You want to make sure that you can get in, get the questions answered. But for these, I think it'd be really cool to do that. So yes, Jared is very warm to the idea, and I am too. Devil Dog Fishing. I really enjoy that idea. There was one. Oh, I just popped up the messages there. Where was it? Is this the newest one? Everyone smash the thumbs up button. Great stuff, Jake's for Green Top. Great staff at Great staff at Jake's and Green Top. I like the smaller stores, and that's not going to be that for long. So big announcement Jared made last night. He had to be the one to drop that bomb, not me. Jake's Bait and Tackle could potentially be moving to a bigger location in the Winchester area, a bigger store. They're going to hold way more stuff, and it sounds like they're going to be selling kayaks too. They're going to get into the kayak game, which is a long time coming. Mm-hmm. I know Jared's been flirting with the idea of kayaks or John boats or something like that. But what's so cool is Jake's Bait and Tackle is one of the closest shops to the Shenandoah River in the Upper Potomac. And that would make it one of the bigger ones. And this was something that I thought was interesting based on, I think what Marty said too last night is, yeah, the local bait shops give you a really good niche in that area. So if there's a tackle shop on like the Chickahominy River or the James River, clearly they're going to know more about that area than anyone else, period, hands down. With the same thing, I say Jake's Bait and Tackle knows a lot about the Shenandoah and the Upper Potomac as well. Right. So, that there is something that you only get with those niche markets.
Yeah. I mean, they have such a plethora of knowledge. You just go in and you basically say, hey, this is where I'm fishing. And then they go, okay, well, here's the aisle you're going to want to shop from today. Mm-hmm. And it's perfect.
It is. And then guys, yeah, keep all the questions coming. You can say that one.
Filleting while I tune in.
That Victor Albert.
For me, I haven't had dinner yet.
That is freaking awesome, Victor. That's super cool. Again, and then Dave, again, same thing. Please send me an email so you can get your gift card as well. The reason she is here. First off, I want to say, last night when we were doing that show, your turnaround time on the tick of the talk of your short form content is absolutely insane.
I'm good at capturing your mess ups and your flaws and memeing them. It's a skill I have. It's a talent.
It's trending, by the way. I don't know how you did that.
I know. I didn't realize it would do so well.
I don't know how you were able to do that kind of turnaround on that thing, but props to you. And the fact it was, I don't know how I said Bakak or whatever it was.
Baku.
It
was bang.
B-A-N-G,
bang.
Yeah.
It's because your dyslexic mind turned the G
I was reading it
into
upside
a
down.
Q.
I was reading
Baku.
it. Yeah, I was reading it upside down too, which did not help. And then just Jared's like, "Are you sure it's not bang?" It's like that's what he's basically said with his mind. He's like, "Are you sure it's not bang?" And then I took that split second. It's like, yeah. God bless him for dealing with me. Anyway, so we're going to be getting into tonight's show here. This is something I saw a couple of other content creators do. A huge shout out to the Time Ghost Army and World War II Week by Week. They did a fantastic episode on this that really went in depth. The Creek Fishing Adventure did the same kind of thing when they talked about really what goes into doing all this, what their plan is, and where are they going in the future. And honestly, this show wouldn't be anything without y'all. So I thought I'd take you through the steps. And I don't know how many questions I've gotten from kids, from colleagues, from my sister
Mhm.
about how do you do a podcast? How do you do all the social media stuff? And I really realized like this is now we're almost 2 years into it. We should just go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then if you
And
got
hang tight, because it's the reason he's doing this is because he wants to be able to share the future of fishing the DMV with everyone.
yeah, and so this is the
There's
long
some stats, but
this is the long form way that we're going to be going about through this
Tom
whole
likes
thing
his
here.
numbers, so just bear with us.
And so let me black out that screen here. Perfect. All right, cool. So, first and foremost, when we founded this thing, it was all about education, conservation, and entertainment. And just to really show you where this podcast has gone since we started this bad boy, we have gone all the way up from absolute zero to over 300,000 views and 36,000 hours of watch time. We've gone from 50 subscribers when we first started with this dead channel all the way up to 3K. It's been absolutely insane, the jump. 40,000 downloads from the very first day that we dropped this thing till the end of July.
Wow.
That's 40,000 downloads. And then on top of that, so far for August, we have over 4,000 downloads already, which is absolutely insane. And a download is different than a view for you guys, because once you download it, it's basically like when you download something onto your iPhone or your app, that counts as one basically.
That's
So it's
one individual person.
yeah. So generally speaking, that means there's 4,000 people, or they downloaded multiple episodes, but the point is it's usually one person doing that whole thing, which is interesting. And then this gets into the kind of the podcast stats for Fishing the DMV. We have over 44,000 downloads in 21 months, and honestly, we're going to be breaking 50,000 downloads in under 2 years, which is an average of 2,000 downloads per month, which puts us in above the top 50% of all podcasts in the nation.
Mhm.
This is amazing because we're a local show. That's absolutely stupid. You shouldn't have those kind of stats. And then what I really want to kind of get into here is how does the show work? How do we get all this done? Well, the scheduling. Part one is pre-production. If you want to do a podcast or something like this, you need to do a complete anal schedule of how you're going to break this down from pre-production, your production, to post-production. And this all starts with your scheduling. Generally, I am on the phone. I am texting on Instagram every week, probably for one episode. Let's just say if we're trying to just get one episode done. Okay.
Mhm.
What, 2 to 4 hours probably
Per week?
per week? Yeah. Roughly around there
At least.
is the numbers I got.
At least.
What you're going to be doing is you're going to be scheduling, you're going to be calling, you're going to get people lined up. I use a combination of iCalendar and a spreadsheet. The reason I do that is if my iPhone goes down, or if it does some kind of upload or upgrade, sometimes it'll blank out your calendar, which scares me because that used to happen with Aaron's baseball sometimes. So I always still keep an Excel spreadsheet on my computer as backup, just in case something goes wrong. So I do that because most of the episodes I do are pre-recorded, which helps for scheduling, editing, and workflow.
Mhm.
So that's step one. Step two of this bad boy is going to be your pre-production. Oh, I already did that one. Is going to be getting into what I call your production. Your production part of this thing, and this is what's interesting here. Once I get Carly set up to want to be on the show and we get our time, what I'm going to do is I still have a day job, believe it or not. I do have a day job. And I'm going to take an hour off before the interview is scheduled because I need to set up the whole podcast studio. This is also where I do my day job, believe it or not, is down here.
Workspace.
Yes.
Yes.
So I have to set everything up so it actually looks like the way it does right now, do my hair most of the time, and get the old shirt on. Then once I get the studio set up, I actually go through all of my notes, go through all that to make sure I know my guest, know kind of what we want to talk about. And then we're going to go into the queue together, and then we're going to start talking. I never hit record when I first get in there because it might be the first time that we've actually been face-to-face seeing each other. You don't know how the person's going to act on the other end of the line. So you want to get a feel for it.
You want them to be able to warm up too.
Yeah. And you also want to go over your notes
Mhm.
and make sure that we're good with everything, what we want to talk about. And then you hit the record button.
Right.
When that's all said and done, you're talking about 3 to 5 hours probably of that part, just the production part, 3 to 5 hours. That includes setting up the studio an hour ahead of time, getting all that done. Once they're done recording, then we have to download all the different files. Take all those different files, and then you're going to export them to an external hard drive. And then I know this is boring, but I know there's people watching right now that want to do this. And this is what you got to do to make this work and to be smooth. Download all your separate files, which is your audio tracks and your different camera angles. Then once they're all downloaded and done, you can move on to post-production. But while that's all happening, I'm going through my notes after the interview to make sure I have a good description, Do I need to adjust that? Just to have my notes for how I want the description to be. And then my timestamps. This is important. If there was a big noise or a cat ran across the screen or somebody busted through the door like a child, I'm going to timestamp that to my best of my ability because it saves my post-production flow. Because what you don't want to do is just edit an episode, put it out there, and there's something embarrassing or something that happened in the show that you could have easily done something with if you paid attention.
So you're just making a note for yourself to go back in and filter through that and make sure you remove that from the final product.
So at minute 16, if there's something that happened, I know go to minute 16 and edit that out.
Gotcha.
So that's going to take about probably three to 5 hours to make that done. This is the fun part, post-production. So what you're going to do in post-production is you're going to take your audio tracks. I use Adobe Premiere. You're going to take all your separate audio tracks. You're going to drop them onto your program. I use Adobe Premiere, like I said before. You're going to make sure you clean up your audio the best you can. Usually, I record my audio separately from my video, and I sync them up in post-production. That way, I have really good audio files, because when you're doing this, audio is key, and I really try to have the best audio possible. If your guest has really good Wi-Fi and a good mic, it makes my life easier. If they don't, which it's okay if they don't, I have to spend a little bit more time scrubbing. Then you have to cut camera angles. So if I'm doing a 2-hour interview,
right,
we're cutting back and forth. You're cutting back and forth.
Right.
And then I actually like to listen to the whole episode at least one time to make sure like it sounds okay.
Right.
Or good enough. Like there's nothing blaring like, ooh, we should probably kind of cut that. Or it's not funny or something like that. Once all that's done, then you're going to export that file out of Adobe Premiere. And then that will take a long time to do. And then you upload that to YouTube, plus a couple of thumbnails, creating a title and description. That's 7 to 9 hours to do that start to finish, right. Which is a lot. And so for one podcast episode, it'll probably take 12 to 18 hours per week to get one episode out there. For 3, it's going to take 36 to 54 hours. And that's kind of what we've been doing for the past 6 months.
Yeah.
So we've been doing 3 episodes plus a live stream, plus I did a hidden gems. The hidden gems, I don't count on all this data that we're talking about because the hidden gem takes about a week and a half of hard editing for me to make sure I develop a good script, a storyline, all that stuff. Right. So hidden gems, I don't count. So we're talking 36 to 54 hours just to do 3 episodes, not counting the live stream, any special in-person events. And this doesn't include driving or phone calls, extra phone calls. So like when we went up to see Joe Love, right, or any of that stuff, doesn't count any of that. Right. Then you have your short form content, which Carly, wave your hands. How much short form content do you do?
I do at least 3 videos a week. So I do Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and then those are primarily for Jake's Bait and Tackle. But when I'm not doing those, I do Fishing the DMV as well as some other things.
Yes. So she does over 200 short form pieces of content each year, bare minimum. So 200 videos she'll upload to Jake's Bait and Tackle, our Facebook, Jake's TikTok, like all of Jake's social media, some of my social media as well. She and I do short form content when it comes to iCast. I do a lot of shorts too. The reason
expos or events or anything like that, we're like cranking them out.
Yeah. And the reason I don't do more short form content, guys, is as you can see, I'm already spending close to 36 to 54 hours just on my end doing that. I don't have time to then use the one computer we have to then also do short form content. I just literally do not have the time. And then, so that's kind of what you need to do. And then Scott, good list. Don't forget to hydrate. I think between the uploading, the creating the thumbnails, yeah, it's quite fun.
It's intense.
It's quite fun. But no, this is just, if you guys want to know, like, that's just kind of like the workflow if you want to get into this. And then to kind of show you like where we've gone so far, starting with tomorrow, we're going to have over 161 episodes of the podcast, over 30 live streams, 200 short form content, 3 hidden gems episode. So we are over 394 pieces of content. And then before you guys start thinking like, good Lord, they must be reeling it in. When you take that with all the expenses we have made probably $5 per video. Yeah. So that's when you break it all down. So what you might be thinking is, well, how much is YouTube paying? Since from the beginning, when we got monetized till now, which has been a year and some change, we have made $990 so far, which would break down to about $2 to $3 total. Luckily. Yeah. And that doesn't even count how much we spend per month. Right. You're going to need Buzzsprout or you're going to need some kind of platform to host it on Spotify, Apple, whatnot. That there is going to cost you $27 to $40 per month right there. Adobe Premiere Suite, that's $50 to $55. The StreamYard Premium, which I do, I think that's $200.
A year?
Yep. No, 200. No, it's like $100 a month. Something like that. And then I have a couple more applications that I'm using as well, plus, renting some of the equipment and all that. So it'll probably cost you between $300 to $500 per month to keep this going. And that doesn't count the initial uptick of everything else, which is with all the studio stuff, I probably spent between $10,000 to $12,000. And then, so even with, the generousness with Jake's,
You're saying the cameras,
Yep,
the
cameras,
lighting,
monitors,
the
TV, and all that,
microphones, the hardware, the software, everything.
Mhm.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
about
For the
$10,000.
podcast,
So at this point, which is great, is we're not bleeding anymore. We're just breaking even.
because of Jake's Bait and Tackle,
Yeah.
our sponsor.
So,
Sponsor. Yes. Thank you.
That's what's so great about that is we're not bleeding to death. We're just breaking even right now. But that really shows you the kind of work and what you need to do to even go into this. So just to do what we've done and work for free, that's how much you need to basically uptake to kind of do this. Now, the money's one thing. It's also the time sink that's also the other. You have to think about when you're doing basically a full-time job for free.
Right.
But that's what you got to do to be successful at this, which is so important. And this is not to be dour or anything like that, because I have massive plans for this podcast. I have
excited.
massive ones. I want to create more special live stream content. That's so freaking important to me. I really am a narcissistic perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. I want it to be the best as possible. I want the best edits. I want it to be clean. I want the audio to be good. I want the radio call-in show to be good. I want to do more live stream weigh-ins. I would like to partner up with the Potomac Team Series next year and actually do live stream weigh-ins to some of their stuff. I would like to also do some live stream weigh-ins for the Occoquan Reservoir Tournament Series, if possible, even if it's just their big specials, seminars, school events. I really want to get there, but we don't have a lot of the equipment yet. But these are some of my goals, like some of the things I really want to do. I also want to create more content like the Hidden Gem series. The Hidden Gem series, I love the document format. It's kind of like fishing on the B side. I want to make that better. I want to create a TV show at some point. I want to make the best call-in radio show possible. And I actually really want to create like a radio show and get on the radio, get on the air, so we can reach even more people. And I want to give back to really the community in our local waterways. And this is all stuff that I really am passionate about and really want to do. And so the idea is like, what are we going to do to kind of get there to this point?
We need that bridge gap. We need something to help us.
Yeah. No, I'm
merge all our hopes and dreams into this.
Oh, there's a slideshow. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to get back to where we were.
So many.
There we go. So this is what we're going to be doing. Because of all this, I'm going to have to cut back on the amount of content we've made because we are not making enough money for us to get new equipment. At this point right now, we have one working computer and basically one working camera. If this computer dies or this camera goes, Fishing the DMV is completely dead in the water. And I don't have any more financial backing. I can't dip into our life savings anymore to go get more equipment. So I'm going to be getting a little side job to help support Fishing the DMV and to make a little bit more money since we're not making any right now. And so that kind of leads into kind of our overall plans right here. Let me get this up here. So starting the first week of September, there we go. Starting the first week of September, we're going to be going to Monday Night Lives that are going to be re-uploaded again on Tuesday, and new podcast episodes will drop on Thursdays. So we're going to be going from 4 to 5 pieces of content per week down to 2. So instead of working close to 60 hours a week on this, we're going to cut that in half. So we have more time available to actually, figure out a way to make some money with that on the side to help ends meet, and also so we can put more money and reinvest back into our business here. And
also, I think Tommy deserves to have a little bit of time off to go fishing.
Well, yeah,
that's also something that.
But I want
inspired on.
I appreciate that, yes, but I also really want to make this better, which means I need to work to invest more money into this to make it better. But then there's something else that we've been trying to do to make this work. We're launching a Patreon. The Patreon is something I've been putting off for a long time, and it's finally time. As of now, it is now finally up and running. at 6. It's 6. I don't even know what time it is right now.
Like 6:30ish.
Yeah, at 6:30, it finally went live. We do have a Patreon account, and I just want to kind of walk through this and because this kind of ties into our overall game plan of what I envision this to be like. So for less than $6 a month, or for $6 a month, for basically less than a pack of Senkos or a jackhammer, you can really help start supporting the show. What I'm going to give you guys is access to a bonus podcast episode each month. There's already one right up there now. I talked to Jake's Bait and Tackle. The first 300 people are going to get 5% off all orders to Jake's Bait and Tackle. Weekly posts, live streams. Also, if there's anything else you guys think or want, I will try to add that to it as well. What's so great about Patreon is I can customize and go back in and re-edit different groups and tiers. So as we grow and we get more money, I can add stuff to the tiers to give you guys more stuff. Now, with the Patreon, this actually kind of feeds into the goal here, because one thing I also learned from my MBA program, there's just not a lot of money in local shows and local community projects compared if you were a big, massive corporation. Because Gillette, let's say Gillette razors, they don't see as many value in a mom and pop shop compared to a national organization. It's just all about the views and clicks, right? Clearly. And just to be granted here, Fishing the DMV is never going to get 1 million subscribers, because I don't care about getting 1 million subscribers. I just care about serving Virginia and Maryland.
And West Virginia and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And DC.
But to serve those people, you need those people's help.
Right.
Because the only way this show is going to exist is if I have a community to want to back it and keep this thing around.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
So, and that gets into it. So what is our first goal? Our first goal is going to be 300 Patreon supporters. At 300 Patreon supporters, that number one is going to keep us alive. At that amount, we're going to be okay. This thing will be considered a side job for me. That actually is a side job. And then working 60 hours a week makes sense at that point doing this. That'd be no problem there. What we're going to be getting with that is we'll be going back to 3 episodes per week of Fishing the DMV, plus the weekly live show, and much more. I'm going to add more to that. But once we hit 300 Patreon supporters, we'll be right back to 3 episodes of Fishing the DMV per week, plus the live stream, plus much more. At that point, we're also going to launch our merch store, because merch is expensive. I know people have been clamoring for merch. People want boat decals. They really want those stickers, things like it costs a lot of money. We need the money to invest to get that stuff, to give it to you guys. So that's the other thing. The other thing is I'm going to reinvest the money back into the company to get better equipment. I want to have a backup computer, because if this goes, it doesn't matter. We're done. A backup camera. I need to invest in better live stream equipment so we can actually do weigh-ins next year, like the Potomac Team Series, or to go to like Charlie Taylor's, youth fishing program. We need the equipment to do it.
Right.
And so that's kind of part of it. I would like to go back to the Richmond Fishing Expo again, but that costs a lot of money. The NVKBA Tricked Out Kayak Show, that costs a lot of money. A lot of that stuff, all of it came out of my own pocket, or we financed most of it. So that's just something to keep in mind. But we can do that, but that's kind of that first tier. The second tier, this is the one I'm excited about. If we hit once we hit 1,000 Patreon supporters, we're going to be giving away $1,000 a month to our Patreon supporters, included a guided fishing trip. So I want you to understand this. I want to give back not only to you guys, but to all of the guides that come on the show every month to give you guys information. And one of the best ways I can do it by not only promoting them, but also buying a fishing trip and then giving it away to you guys.
Right.
And so I feel like this is the best of both worlds. Once we get to that point, we'll figure out how we structure the prize giveaway in the sense of, first place gets this much and work down. But it will be over $1,000 in prizes given away each month to Patreon supporters, plus a guided fishing trip, which gives you a great time, because hopefully we can make it to where you get a smallmouth trip one month that's going to be given away, maybe a Chesapeake saltwater fishing trip the next month. You can go down to the New River, the Susquehanna, Lake Anna. It'll give people a really cool opportunity to maybe fish somewhere they've never been before or learn something. But I get to say thank you to all the guides that really have made this show something special.
I mean, they put hours into your show. Even before you barely had any subscribers, you reached out to these guys who, would rather be out there fishing with their clients and sure, I guess I'll give you a chance. So it would just be awesome to be able to give back to those guys who supported us from the very beginning. Yeah.
And the other thing is I want to be able to give away kayaks too, and boats or things like that at some point, all those things, just to get people more of a chance to go fishing on the water. And maybe we restructure to where there's a youth prize giveaway depending on your age, and then an adult format. and we can tailor the prizes more. So that's something I'd really want to do. The other thing is we're going to be launching 2 extra channels when we hit 1,000. I talked to my wife about this, then we can actually pull this down and talk.
Because you need my approval for
Now, well, so basically what we want to do is when you have a podcast channel like we do, and every episode is an hour long, if you drop anything that's not an hour long, YouTube doesn't like it, which is a pain in the butt. Shorts don't work on my channel anymore. Short form kind of does not work. iCast was a dud when it came to shorts.
We're talking YouTube
specifically. But Jared walking around with a mic, that did really good.
People loved it.
And I just think it's because the algorithm does kind of learn that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same thing where you drop that short on any other channel, it goes viral. Right. We're going to be dropping 2 different channels. One is going to be more of a fishing show documentary series, just like what Scott Martin does, but it's going to be highlighting and promoting all the local waterways in a really cinematic way. That's one of my hopes there. Number 2 will be like a clip channel and a shorts channel, and kind of like a live channel for doing weigh-ins, youth events. We can separate all the channels out. Cool. That way the podcast channel stays the same, but I can bring you guys more content. And again, Patreon supporters can also help kind of guide me on where we go with that. Mm-hmm. And the other thing I want to say about the prize money, once we hit 1,000, and as we keep increasing, the prize money and the value will go up as well. Just like a fishing tournament, the more people you get in, the more we can give away each month. Okay. And then the last thing on this tier that I really want to do, and Jared actually from Jake's Bait Tackle really got this idea, is we're going to create our own fishing event. I don't know if it's going to be a tournament or a getaway vacation. Charlie Taylor mentioned something really, really cool to me in passing conversation, that they do kind of these camp getaway trips. It's not a tournament, but they can collectively pool their money. They rent a big house or something like that for the weekend, awesome. And they all can go fish. They fish, cook out, drink, and have a good time. Mm-hmm. But they pick bodies of water when they should be fishing really good.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool to have like a fishing camp like that, whether it's a kayak event or a boating event, and we'll try to do 1 or 2 of them a year. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. If that's something that you guys want to do, some kind of fishing event like that. I think this is doable at some point. When you think that there is over 3,000 people that are subscribed to Fishing the DMV, and we have over 200 to 300 people per episode downloading, eventually we're going to hit 1,000. I think it's going to be really cool. This last one is really cool for a couple of reasons, even though maybe it's more of a Disney princess ending.
I'm
excited
for this one.
Because there's a lot past this. I have been blessed to talk to John Odenkirk multiple times, Joe Love, Sikorsky of the Ocean, the Chesapeake Bay Association. I've been able to talk to Hallecker, so many people from the Virginia Department of Wildlife Resources, the Maryland Department of Wildlife Resources, the Chesapeake Bay, everyone across there. And it sounds like we finally got permission to do something really cool. So without further ado, if we hit our biggest goal, when we hit 3,000 Patreon supporters, we have a green light to create our own nonprofit. It's the Future Fish Foundation. We're going to be able to do supplemental stocking on a different level that hasn't been done before, since there was a local group that did it in the James River. What we'll be able to do is supplementally stock bodies of water, whether it is the James River, Smith Mountain Lake, or the Shenandoah River and the Upper James, the new river for smallmouth. We're going to be able to do it on a local level and not have to worry about where the government wants to put it. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, how this works is we're just donating the fish. We're going to say, like, we would like to put them in here, and we sign some forms. We're not dumping them in without their permission. And it's the same thing with Maryland. But we're going to be able to crowdfund this and actually try to make a difference on our own, and have people in the community put money where their mouth is. If you think the fishing sucks in this area, well, then, put $6 up and let's make a difference.
Right.
Now, what's fun about this is also, this will be up to a vote by the Patreons. If we ever hit this stage of 3,000, we will pick a couple bodies of water and say, which one this year should we stock? And then as this thing gets bigger, and if we're blessed for it to get even bigger, we can do this to more bodies of water. And then the other things that I really want to do is fishing amenities improvements. I fish a ton of tournaments right now this year at Big Slack on the Upper Potomac, and the dock is terrible. That dock is absolutely terrible there. And I would love to be able to raise money and donate to build that dock out, that floating dock, and make it bigger. I would love to fix the boat ramp at Dam 5, which is the one above it. Make it a little bit deeper. There are so many little projects that we can do to help improve the fishing opportunities available. And again, there's much, much more that we can do with this. Is this something we're going to do tomorrow? Absolutely not. But the fact that I've gotten the permission, the green light that we can go do this is cool. The lane's open now. People have complained that why isn't anyone doing this? I'm saying I'm setting this up now. I've talked to Odenkirk last night. He again reiterated that we're good to go. Joe Love said the same thing here. We have the ability to create a nonprofit and actually do something here. If you guys want this, let's make it happen. And that's kind of where we're going with, again, guys. The Patreon is now open and available. I'm excited about this because at least we're trying and we're kind of nutting up. We're saying that we're going to do this and try to help improve the community. And then again, like what Charlie Taylor does with the youth fishing tournaments. This is something else that nonprofit could do and be a part of.
Yeah.
Having that nonprofit opens up so many more things that we can do in this community.
Yeah.
Plus, we have the #1 fishing podcast show in the area combined with that nonprofit. It makes us really a powerful voice to make good change. But it starts with the first person. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that right now. And
it's up, it's running.
We'll see where it
Everybody
goes with that.
go subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, please let me know.
And Jake's Bait and Tackle is going to give a $25 gift card to the first Patreon member. So get on over there.
And then the other thing too is like, it's not just fish stocking. Like I said, like there's a boat ramp in Riverton. It could be use some TLC. We can raise money for that too. And we can put that up to the votes. Can we fix this month? You guys can vote and say like, well, can we fix this pond here? Let's go do that. It just gives us so much more flexibility and the transparency to be able to do something. I still am trying to get a hold of people to talk about what's going on with the smallmouth stuff at Front Royal. You have my word that if we stock fish, there will be a live stream where you're watching us put those damn fish in the water that you guys paid for. And there will be ability for you to see it in short form content, long form content, that there will be transparency out the ass. So you know the fish you bought went in there and there's not a bunch of red tape that you have to cite through to say, well, did they get in there or not? Right. No, it's going to happen. You want the boat dock in there? We're going to get that shit done. And we can actually start fighting for anglers in this area because we need a voice. But maybe we get there. Maybe we don't. At this point, it's all up to you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. But yeah, that's kind of where they are. Any questions? I'm old and have no idea what Patreon is or how to sign up. Help. 6 is nothing.
Thank you.
You say your thing because you told me this part.
What?
About people having trouble with Patreon.
Yeah, I told you you're going to have to do a step-by-step video on how to sign up for Patreon. Yeah, I had to set the PayPal up for Fishing the DMV. I don't even know if Tom knows the link for his own Fishing the DMV link.
Well, I do know Patreon, and there's a link right now, guys, in the episode description, and I'm actually going to drop the link again right now.
Yeah, go for
and
it. It's
super easy to sign up for. It's 2 clicks. If you've ordered from Jake's Bait and Tackle online or Tackle Warehouse, you can basically order from here.
It's a Patreon, so it's a subscription. Like it just provides you with, you're supporting Fishing the DMV every month. It's $6 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's a subscription you sign up for, and doing that gives you an extra podcast episode every month, as well as potential for getting discounted rates when we open our merch store. And then we will also be planning on setting up a private community for all Patreons for Fishing the DMV so that they can communicate with one another, get together, go fishing, go party.
Try to kick your butt.
Yeah. Oh, I think I try.
But yeah. So anyway, if anyone has any questions and again, guys, so just to let you know, starting next week, live streams, Monday Night Live will never change. That's set. We're always going to do Monday Night Live. Podcast episodes are only going to drop on Thursday because I need to find a side hustle and actually make some money so I can start buying better camera equipment and so we can pay our bills. But then once we hit 300, we'll be back to our normal thing because, kind of gotta survive. You know what I mean? But I'm not giving up on the dream. I just need to make the more money to make the dream possible.
Right.
So,
which is fair.
Yeah.
I think it's perfectly fair.
Well, you feel guilty too.
He does, not me.
Well, she doesn't feel guilty at all.
I don't feel guilty asking people for support.
I know, I do.
You're worth it.
I'm worthless?
You're worth it.
Oh, worth it. Okay. They said like, well, you're worthless.
Sometimes.
Yeah, she's mean to me sometimes. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions about it, I'm going to be launching would you guys like me to show you how to sign up for Patreon? Actually, that's probably a good thing. If you guys do, let me know in the comment section down below. I can make a tutorial about that, or I could show you real quick. Either way. Like how Jenny's in the chat, though. Jenny can probably show all of her old man friends, though,
Jenny,
tomorrow.
Yes, fishermen and tech don't always go together.
If you click on the link in the episode description, I will also post it on Facebook, YouTube. I'll post it absolutely everywhere. It's going to be available if you guys want to walk into Jake's. If you're above the age of 30 and you don't know how to use technology, just walk into Jake's Bait and Tackle. Jenny does Wi-Fi routers, all that stuff.
She can help you.
Yep. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. Like and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye. You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your hosts, Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.